Jose, welcome to the show, man.
Hey man, what's going on, brother?
I am ecstatic to have this conversation with you. Obviously, we got connected through a mutual friend, and my listeners know her, Rhonda Smith. She's actually been on the show 3 times, believe it or not.
Oh
But she
wow.
was also a personal coach of mine who I worked with through some relationship and spiritual coaching. And she's just a phenomenal human being. And when she says, "Hey, you need to know somebody," and she connects me, it just happens. And when we connected, I was like, yes, yes, yes. We're in the same wavelength. Your hat literally says mindset disruptor. When we connected, I was wearing for the first time, I was wearing a t-shirt that said mindset over everything. So we understand the mindset, right? And obviously coming from two totally different worlds, two totally different spectrums. But the importance of mindset is really, really extreme. So we'll get into that. We're going to get into a ton of things, man. But why don't you take a second and introduce yourself to my audience? Who is Jose today? And then we'll break down how you got there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, first of all, again, thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate you letting me rock and roll with you and your audience, man. So Jose Flores today is a global motivator, mindset disruptor. As you can see, #1 best-selling author, coach, speaker, trainer, husband, father, friend. I do a lot of things, man. I'm involved with a lot of things, but it wasn't always like that, right? I know everybody sees like almost what they think is what the final result is, but they didn't see the blood, sweat, and tears and the crying and all the struggle, right? That we go through to get to where we are in life, where we're putting in that work and that grind and that hustle, right? So I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. So I'm a city boy, and I had a great childhood, but when I was 2.5 years old, my mom and everyone noticed that I had a little limp in my walk, and everybody thought it was cute. They were like, "Oh, look at him. He walks like a little tough guy." And it was cute, right? Until my mom noticed that it wasn't going away.
Yeah.
And so she took me to the doctor to get checked out. They did a muscle biopsy and they diagnosed me with what's called spinal muscular atrophy. It's in the muscular dystrophy family. And basically what it does is there's a deficiency in one of my survival motor neurons, which causes my muscles to weaken as I get older. So the doctor said that I'd be in a wheelchair by the age of 15. They weren't expecting me to live past my teenage years. And, but man, through the grace of God, this year, on February the 25th, I'm celebrating my 45th birthday.
Yes.
So I'm super excited. Yeah, man. And, but again, so I had a great childhood. I was able to walk and run and do all of these amazing things. And then when I got into high school was when I really started to feel the shift in my condition in my body, where things started to get more difficult for me to do. Just basic things like going from a sitting position to a standing position. Basically anything that went against gravity, I started feeling it like really, really hard. So lifting my arms to pull my shirt on, or bending over to pull my pants up, or tying my shoes, taking a shower, just basic things that most of us take for granted started to become really difficult for me in high school. And then I actually lost my ability to walk at 22. So I was 22 years old. I just moved down to Florida, literally just a few months after moving down to Florida. So I'm excited. I'm here thinking like, man, I'm going to take advantage of all these opportunities, new environment, new people, new mindset, new attitude. And then I lose my ability to walk and boom, I'm in a dark place. I'm in a dark tunnel. There's no light at the end of it. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to do now?
Yeah. I want to go there for a second with you, if you don't mind. Going through life, I want to let's wind back to the teen years. And the reason I want to go there is on a very, very small scale, not comparable, but the idea of, your physicality starting to be taken away from you. So when I was 12, I broke my first hip. When I was 14, I broke my second hip. And so, being a super active kid and then having that being taken away. Now, obviously mine only lasted 9 months before I could start walking again. But I remember the mental wear of that being kind of taken away. So when you were in those young teen years, and as you started to notice certain things slip, like you said, bending down or sitting up or whatever the case, what was going through your mind? Was it fear? Was it sadness? Was it anger? What were the emotions that you were going through while you were starting to experience those changes?
Yeah, man, all of the above, bro. All of the above. I was afraid. I was embarrassed. I was, my confidence level dropped, and I was like in hiding, man. I was like, I didn't want nobody to know that I was experiencing this, because I didn't want them to, I didn't want my family to worry about me. I didn't want my friends to treat me differently. So I would hide all of these feelings that I was going through because
Wow.
I didn't want people to, judge me any type of way. And so, yeah, man, it was tough, man. It was tough. I was angry, like you said. I was upset. I'm a man of faith, but I hated God at that point in life because I was like, man, why did you do this to me? Why is this, why me? Why is this happening to me? It wasn't like I was in an accident or anything. I was like born like this. So I'm like, well, all right, God, like you need to do me over, right? I need to redo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had like all of those emotions, man. And it was tough, navigating. I cried a lot on my own in my bed at night or in the shower, I would cry. And just trying to navigate through it, man. Like I was born in 77. So in 77, there wasn't a lot of medical knowledge
Right.
about neurology. And so the doctors really didn't know what was going on. I mean, they knew what was going on, but they really didn't know why it was happening, how to explain it. So all I knew was like, I have this condition, this disease, quote unquote, in me that's eating away at my muscles. There's no hope in sight. There's no cure. There's no medication. There's no treatment. There's no exercising. It is going to take its course, whether I want it to or not. And I don't know, you know, how that's going to affect me. So I wasn't thinking about college or a career. I'm just like in survival mode. I just want to make it to 19, right?
Yeah.
Because
Day
that's
by
what they
day.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like every day was a fight for me, and took for me to put on a new mindset and try to stay positive. That's one of the things I think helped me out a lot, man. I was always a positive dude. I had a great personality. I was always joking around. But during this period, man, there wasn't a lot of joking. There wasn't a lot of laughter and fun going on because I didn't know what to do. And so
Yeah.
what I did was I hid.
Mm. Mm. That's tough, man. And like you said, you moved to Florida and you got excited, like time for new direction, time for new people, time for new everything. And then that ability to walk was taken away from you. What was that day like? Like take me to that day. Cause like when you said it, it hit my heart. Cause I was like, I couldn't imagine that day that everything shifted. What was that like for you? And kind of what was and we'll get to the mindset shift here in a second. We'll get to why you're a legend these days. But I think this is important. Like you said, a lot of people see today and they don't realize the things that we went through, the mental struggles, the things. So what was that like at 22?
So, 22, for those of you watching and listening, when you turn 21, 22, you're like, yeah, I'm officially an adult. Like I'm a grown man now. Right. And so, moving to Florida was exciting, even though I knew this was in my body, but I was still able to walk. It was exciting. I was just trying to push through it and see what happened. And, and then it happened. Right. My mom, I'm 6 foot tall and I was 150 pounds. I'm 150, 55 pounds. So I was walking at that point. I used to use a scooter because, like I said, my muscles were getting weaker. My leg would give out on me at random moments.
Right.
That's another reason why I would hide, because I'd be at the mall, the movie theater, a park, wherever. When my leg decided to give out, that was it. There was no stopping it.
Hmm.
And I would become like a spectacle, right? And so I was going from the little scooter that I used to drive around to the sofa to watch some TV at my mom's house, and my leg gave out, and I I fell down like a sack of potatoes. I broke all the toes in my right foot.
Oh,
And yeah, man, that was one of the most painful experiences I ever experienced. And so, what they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So for about 3 or 4 months, you can't put a cast on toes, right? So about 3 or 4 months, I couldn't put any pressure. My foot looked like a baby elephant foot. It was that swollen.
wow.
And
Oh,
so,
ugh.
yeah, it was horrible, bro. It was horrible. And so, they say that when you don't use it, you lose it. So after those 3 or 4 months, when my toes started healing and I tried to stand up again, I couldn't. My leg just kept on buckling out from under me. So, my dad would hold me up and I try to stand up and it would just give out and give out and give out. So I was like, man, I guess this wheelchair thing, it is what it is now going forward. And so I experienced a little bit depression, mild depression, but I think, nothing crazy or suicidal, I'm
Sure.
grateful for that as well. But I did experience some mild depression. And I'm just like, man, what the heck am I going to do with my life? Like, am I just going to live with my parents my whole life and they're going to take care of me now and they're going to be my caregivers and I'm just going to rot away and die in this wheelchair and nobody's going to know who I am?
Yeah. Dude, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people that and I don't know how many people have what you have, but I imagine people going through that, they do relegate themselves to, I guess this is my life, my parents are going to be my caregivers, and because they make that proclamation in their life, they then live that life. But here you are, like you said, married with children and thriving and traveling the world and speaking with Les Brown and all these things. What was the shift? When did the mental shift and the mindset shift start happening for you?
You know, all these years, man, I was feeling broken and I was broke down and I felt like I looked broken to people, right? As a man. And there was at one point, man, when I just figured that if I wanted to see my breakthrough, I need to break some old ways of thinking. I need to break, maybe some generational curses, and I need to break some limiting beliefs. And I was basically literally sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like I was just that guy. Like I'm tired all the time. I'm upset all the time. Like why me all the time, and negative thinking all the time. And so, I have I was in corporate America basically more than half my life, or about half my life. And I did that because that's all I thought I'd be good at doing. Something super simple, keyboard on my lap, phone, mouse, computer, and I can make a decent living. And I did.
Yeah.
I did that for 20 years. But again, that was a limiting belief. And there was a point where I just wasn't fulfilled anymore. Like I didn't feel fulfillment with that. And I was like, man, God, there has to be more than life than just living and dying in this wheelchair. I know that I have more inside of me that I'm capable of doing. What can I do? Because I was always focusing on the things I couldn't do, right? I can't walk. I can't lift my arms. I can't get dressed. I can't take a shower on my own. I can't do, like everything was the I can't. So I said, all right, well, what can you do, Jose? What can you do? And I said, well, I still have a mind, a sound mind, and I still have a voice. And so I just literally I Googled motivational speaking, and a plethora of information popped up. I YouTubed motivational speakers, a bunch of them popped up. And one of them that really resonated with me was who's my mentor today, a good friend. I call him my spiritual pops, the great Les Brown, right? And he wrote the foreword to my number one best-selling book. And I was fortunate enough to go on tour with him. And that was a whole amazing experience in and of itself. I speak about it in great detail in my book because it was that powerful of a moment. And I share it because I want to show people like the power of showing up for life and for yourself and the people and the connections that you can make. And I'm a firm believer in that. And so, that was the mindset shift, man. It was like I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of living in lack and scarcity and pretty much near poverty, right? I was on disability, making $850 a month. And that alone blew my mind. I'm like, what the heck? How can people survive off of this? So that's why I went to get a job in corporate America and then worked my way up, right, to a manager position. And like I said, I loved corporate America for a long time because it was a decent job. I had a ton of benefits. That's where I met my wife. And, we had kids and that was all she wrote. But then again, it got to the point where, okay, this isn't enough anymore. You can be doing more. And what is that more? What does it look like? How do you get there? How can you obtain it? And then that's when my journey of becoming a motivational speaker and doing what I do now began.
Dude, I love it. And I think you're literally the storybook perfect example of turning your pain into a purpose.
That's right.
There's so many people who go through terrible things and it's awful, right? Whether they seem as bad as what you've been through or not, like it's bad enough to them, right? But then they live in that pain and they live in that moment and they cannot see the bright side. They can't see what's next. And you going, there needs to be more, I think is a great place to start, right? It's a great place to go, okay, there needs to be more. What can I do? Now, I'm curious on my own, how did you go from Googling motivational speakers to getting on the stage and touring with Les Brown? Like, how does one even make those steps? Like, how did you start to make those connections for yourself? Because I think networking is a lost art.
No, you hit it right on the head, man. I'm like a master networker, bro. Like I go to every networking event. Like I live in South Florida, so I go to every networking event. And I just connected with as many people as I possibly can. And the cool thing about it is that I saw something online one time where Les Brown was going to be touring in South Florida. So, and it's an amazing story, man, but just in a nutshell, he came down in the December, right? December of 2015. Now I work in corporate America. So for those of you who know, you get PTO, which is paid time off, vacation time. Most of the time, most people by the end of the year, they're already done with vacation time. So there is no vacation time. So my wife and I are both in the same boat, no vacation time. We have to make a decision. Are we going to take off unpaid to go see Les and me chase my dream, or we're going to just work and miss the opportunity? So we both took off of work, went to go see him, wound up not being able to see him in person. I mean, we saw him in person. I saw him speak, but wind up not being able to meet him, which was my goal. But I met the owner of the tour. It's called Get Motivated. The owner of Get Motivated. I met him, and he said, "Hey, man, I heard you're an up and coming speaker." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he was like, "Well, we're on a tour right now. Our next stop is West Palm Beach." They were in Fort Lauderdale. He said, "The next stop is next week, West Palm Beach. Are you available?" And I said, "Well, I mean, I don't know. I could be." And he said, "Well, if you can make it, I'll give you 10 minutes to show me what you got." So now, mind you, this is the very next week. That means another 2 days unpaid for my wife and I.
Yeah.
It's in the same pay period. So that's 4 days unpaid in the same pay period at the end of the year. Our son's birthday is on December 27th. Christmas is right around the corner. And we're thinking like, man, that's 4 days of unpaid, of unpaid that we may not be able to do Christmas and birthday the way we wanted to this year. So we said, you know what, we're gonna take the days off, man. And that second time around, man, that was the breakthrough, man. That's when I was like, man, I have backstage access now. I'm gonna be able to meet Les. So I go backstage to meet him after he's speaking, because I see him speaking. I go backstage to meet him, and they said he left. Oh. Yeah, bro. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. He just literally got off the stage, and they was like, yeah, no, he had another, engagement. So he left. So I missed him again. So the funny thing is that same day I get a phone call from a friend of mine who's like, man, Jose, I'm speaking down at the Miami Dolphin Stadium, and I have a couple extra tickets if you and your wife can make it. I was like, man, I was already a little upset. I was like, man, I don't know if I can make it. I'm all the way in West Palm Beach. That's like an hour and a half drive. And I was like, I don't know. I'll try to make it, man. He was like, well, I'll put your name on the list. Just in case you can. And he was like, hey, and guess what, man? Guess who's speaking here? I said, who? He said, Les Brown. I said, oh, man. So me and my wife, I'm like, yo, I'll be there. Me and my wife fly down to Miami from West Palm Beach. And that's where I finally met Les Brown, gave him my speaker kit. And he called me the next day, man. I go back to work. I'm business as usual. I get a phone call, and it's him, and we're talking. We talk for about 45 minutes. And he gives me a cell number. He's like, hey, man, I want to help you. I can definitely coach you and mentor you. And that was 6 years ago, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that, man, because you kept showing up, right? You kept saying yes to yourself, and you knew the power that you had and the influence that you wanted to have and the change you wanted to make in the world. And you had faith in the process, and you said yes to yourself. And I think that's such a great lesson for people to hear, because so often we take the easy route. The easy route would have been, you know what? I need the money. Christmas is coming up. I need to work. I need to do these things. But instead you said yes to the greater mission in life. And sometimes we have to get uncomfortable in order to live the life that we desire, man. And so tell us a little bit about the last 6 years of your life and the change that you've seen and the impact that you've been able to make. And what does that look like, that process of growth?
Yeah, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. I mean, anybody that's listening or watching and you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting out, what that feels like, man. It's like somebody has a billy club to the back of your head. Yeah. But it's been fun, right? It's been very difficult, learning and growing and building and scaling. That's the difficult part, right? But it's been fulfilling. It's been exhilarating. It's been fun. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world, man, because of, like you said, the impact that I've been able to make in so many people's lives. So many people come up to me and tell me about how I've impacted them, how my story resonated with them. But then not only that, but just the messages I get from people I don't get to meet, but they reach out to me via social media, or they send me emails through my website. And then you have those that I learned that you'll never meet, never hear from on social media, but you've impacted them too, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones I really love, because I know that I don't know you. I've never seen you. I've never spoken to you, but my story has made an impact. And even though I don't know them like specifically, I know they're out there, and that just fires me up as well, man.
Yeah, dude. And it's so true. There's so many people watching who might not have, from for lack of a better term, the guts or the want or desire to reach out and let people know, hey, you've impacted me. My friend Fabio Viviani posted on his Instagram story or made a post. It's like, I see you. I see 130 of you liking my comments or liking my posts, but then I see thousands of you watching my story. And he's like, just keep watching, right? But it's really that action that changes everything, man. And so, I have a question that I ask every single person on this show. So I want to ask you, and it's a two-part question. The first part is, what is your definition of success? And the second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
Great questions, man. I love them. So first of all, success for me is whatever makes me content, fulfilled, and at peace. If I can accomplish those 3, I'm successful, man. I know a lot of times we look at, the Grant Cardones and the Tony Robbins and the Les Browns, and we're like, man, that's what success looks like. And for some people, that is success, right? The money, the cars, the fame, and that's okay for some people, right? But for me, I had to really understand what success was for me and what it really is. When you really dig down to the root of it, it's what makes you. And at the end of the day, this is what we all want. We all want to be loved. We all want to live in peace, and we all want to feel fulfilled. Right? Deep down in our hearts, that's what we're all really yearning for. We want to be loved. We want to be at peace, and we want to be fulfilled, and we want to be happy, right? But happy is a choice. And you can choose to be happy, and all of these things, right? We can choose to be at peace. We can choose to be fulfilled. We can choose all of these things. So why aren't we choosing these more often, right? Why aren't we making the choice to make these things a reality in our lives? And I think it's because we've been programmed and programmed and programmed. And I was programmed, right? We spoke about that. I was programmed, right? You go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you work that job, you retire, and hopefully you live long enough to enjoy it a little bit, right? That's the programming that we have. But I think a lot of things are changing nowadays especially with millennials and thinking outside the box and breaking those old ways of thinking. That's why I'm the mindset disruptor, man, because I'm always thinking about different ways to do things and new ways to do things. So that kind of goes into the second question, which is 3 things that I do every day to make sure that I ensure I'm successful for that day and I win the day. So number 1 is immediately before I even get out of my bed and I'm opening my eyes, or even if my eyes are closed, but I'm still kind of awake. And it's like, that morning period where you're like awake, but you're not all the way awake yet. But I automatically just start waking up and I'm like, thank you, God, for waking me up today. And I'm just putting myself in a state of gratitude, just being thankful. Thank you, Lord, that I didn't die last night in my sleep and I get to wake up again and live another day and make impact one more time, right? So that alone, that just starts to fire me up, right? You start to release those natural feel-good chemicals in your body that like set you up for the win for the day. So when I get out the bed, man, I don't even, I was one of those phone addicts where I'm like, as soon as I get up, give me my phone, right? So I've actually implemented no phone like within the first hour of my day, just so that I can get my mind right. Right. Yeah. I spend time in my devotions, maybe listening to a podcast or reading a book, or, having a conversation with my wife about, what our goals and what our dreams are and how, just kind of brainstorming. So that first hour when I wake up is dedicated to self-care is what I call it. Right. So immediately, number 1, gratitude. Number 2, self-care, some type of way. I can't exercise, so I'm always exercising my mind. I can exercise physically, so I'm always exercising my brain muscle, reading a book, learning something new, podcast, something, right? So I'm exercising my mind constantly. And then number 3, I'm always making sure that I have my schedule in order, right? I'm just not waking up and just all over the place, making sure, and I do that the night before, and I love my calendar app. It always shows what tomorrow's looking like.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm looking at what tomorrow looks like, and I'm setting the day, again, setting myself up to win, planning the day out, who I need to call, and then prioritizing it as well, right? I had you on my calendar today, podcast with my man, Justin. We're going to rock and roll, boom, set that time aside. And then after our podcast, I'm jumping on to the next thing. So just making sure that like my calendar is full, not with just busyness, right? Just getting things done. And okay, Justin, check, podcast, check, this, check. But like also, what can I do to make my business successful? Like I want to be busy in my business so that it's successful, because I want to be able to get to the point where I'm working on my business and not in my business.
Yep. Amen.
Right.
Amen. Dude, I just told you how busy I am right now, and it's all for the business, right? but there are just seasons, bro. Like there's seasons where I'm like, I need a nap regularly. But also at the same time, you find gratitude in the fact that, hey, at least people want to talk to me. At least, business is moving in the right direction. At least I have enough clients to keep my roof over my head, right? All those things to really get you pumped up and excited to take on that busy day. I can't even imagine how busy your day can become and how quickly, right? With everything you have going on. So what's next for you, man? Like, look, you've accomplished so much, but I know how you are. You're a man of the right mindset. You have bigger dreams and bigger goals. What's next for you in this process of, continuing to inspire the world?
Yeah, man. So right now I'm working on two big projects. So outside of my normal coaching and speaking, my wife and I just finished writing a book together. It's called What Real Love Looks Like. We've been married this year. We'll be making 15 years married. We've been together for over 20. And so we thought that right now is a good time, especially we know a lot of marriages are struggling, relationships are struggling, and we want to be able to impact that area, right? Because we believe that if we can help keep a family together, I'm sorry, if we can help keep a marriage together, then we can help keep a family together. And my wife and I are both products of broken homes. So we know what that's like, but we also know what it is to build a home because we've done it together. And we have two amazing kids. And we're, like I said, 15 years in, strong, not surviving, but thriving. So we wanted to write a book just to help other people, like just share our love story, man. Share our love story, what works for us, what didn't work for us, and let people know that we struggle just like you do. And but then you throw in the whole wheelchair aspect, and my wife being a caregiver, now that's a whole nother ball game, right? Now, how do you do the regular stuff that marriages go through and the wheelchair, and you're still able to look great, and you're still able to, have an amazing sex life, and how are you able to be thriving in life and just not surviving and hoping that things change, right? So we have an open communication platform that between my wife and I, we talk about everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things we want to hear and the things we don't want to hear. And that's what makes us successful, because I think that a lot of people aren't being their true selves, in not only to themselves, but in their relationships. So that's one project we're working on. We're already finished writing the book. We're wrapping it up now. It's going to be launching hopefully by Q3 of this year. We're going to be doing marriage retreats, marriage conferences, marriage seminars. And man, we're going to be just filling the air with a lot of love.
Yeah, man. When the book comes out, I'll have to have you and your wife on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, man. Absolutely. And then my second big project is I'm actually creating another business model, which is like a business in a box for speakers, coaches, and trainers. So my partner and I, we have a ton of content where we created PowerPoints, facilitators guides, participant guides, in a plethora of topics, right? From leadership to mindset, to motivation, to positivity, to employee engagement, to sexual harassment, to starting an LLC, how to open a business account, all of those different things that maybe new speakers, coaches, and trainers don't know how to do. Like I didn't know how to do it. I was on Google and YouTube every night till like 2:00 in the morning, and then having to wake up at 7:00 to go to work. So I know what the grind is because I did it. And even though I met Les Brown and he helped me a lot, he wasn't holding my hand, right? He wasn't holding my hand like through the whole entire process. Like I had to put the work in. So we created this business model where we're going to provide the facilitators guides, participant guides, and PowerPoints and videos to go along with these trainings. So you can basically, you'll purchase this business in a box, and now you can use it, and you can white label it. You can put your own branding, your own logo on it, and now you can go out and use these trainings to start making income in your own business, whether you're a speaker, coach, or trainer. Because now you can start doing your own workshops. You can do your own presentations for corporations or companies, nonprofits, whoever it is. There's going to be a ton of courses available or trainings available. So it's going to be membership based. So there'll be a monthly fee for one level. Then we're going to be hitting up corporate America because we're going to be training the trainers. So that's another level. And then the business in the box is our highest ticket, where you'll come down for 2 weeks. My partner and I would train you for 2 weeks on the curriculum, how to use the curriculum, how to get the sale, how to contact businesses, who to ask for, what to say. So it's a 2-week training. And then when you go home, you'll be able to use these materials day one and start making money. If you're really, fired up and passionate and you're willing to put the work that's necessary to get it done, you can start making, 5 figures a month in no time.
That's genius, man. So obviously it's not quite out yet, right? But where should people be looking for this stuff?
That's going to be launching end of Q2, beginning of Q3. We're working on it now, man. And actually, if there's anybody listening or watching that's interested, we actually started a group, a Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, so you got to join. It's called 1 Million Voices Strong on Facebook, right? We have the Instagram. We haven't really set it up yet, but on Facebook. And what we're doing is every week we're going in there and we're talking about different topics. We already did 2 trainings. We did one training on Dream Reset, right? Because we know that January 17th is like National Give Up on Your Resolution Day. So we did a Dream Reset for those people who may have fallen off track. And then last week, we just did a one on goal setting, right? So I don't know when this is going to get aired, but maybe by the time you check the group out, there's more stuff in it. But join the group, man, because it's a value-driven community where we're just going to be dropping a ton of value. We're not going to be bombarding you with emails like all of these other guys do and trying to sell you, all the leaves on the tree as well. We want to just add a tremendous amount of value because we believe that money follows value. So once we're adding all this value, people are just going to want more and more and more. And we're just going to be pumping out that content. So that's 1 Million Voices Strong on Facebook. Join the community. We'd love to have you.
I love it, man. Dude, I'm excited for you. You're going to have a rather busy Q3 and Q4. And that's super exciting. And like I said, we'll have to have you and your wife back on. So I wrap up every single interview with the same question. But before we get there, other than that Facebook group, where else can people find you, connect with you? What's all the good stuff?
Yeah, man, it's super simple. Everything is at Jose Inspires. My Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is joseinspires.com. You can check that out. You can get a copy of my #1 best-selling book. Actually, it's called Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard. I know we spoke about earlier, turning your pain into your purpose, which I talk about a lot, but I also like saying that when you can learn how to turn your struggle into a story, that's when you're going to start to see change in your own life and in the people's and in the lives of the people around you, because everyone loves a good story, right? And I think that everyone should be an author because we all have a good story. Me and you shared your story with me and with that whole situation that happened with your mom. I'm pretty sure if your audience has heard that before, so that's a powerful story, man. And it resonates with a lot of people. So you can go to my website, check that book out. If you go to the website and purchase it, I can go ahead and sign it and have my team ship it out to you. But it's on Audible and Amazon and anywhere else you find books. It's there as well. So wherever you feel most comfortable, you can get that. But if you want the John Hancock, go to joseinspires.com and I'll go ahead and make sure I sign that bad boy for you.
I love it, man. I love it. And obviously they can go find your podcast, which I was just a guest on last week or 2 weeks ago, however it works out. They can go find it. They can listen there and make sure they subscribe as well, because you have some killer guests. And I'm not just talking about myself. Like your guest lineup is absolutely a stud lineup, man. And it's a great show to listen to. I've been able to catch a couple episodes. And so kudos to you. I don't give many kudos in the podcast space because there's a lot of not great podcasts out there, but you crush it, man. So guys, make sure you go check that out as well. And Jose, like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. Since the show is called The Growth Now Movement, that question is, in your life, what has been the biggest moment of growth?
Man, the biggest moment of growth was when I finally took the plunge, spread my wings and kind of took the leap of faith and became an entrepreneur, because there's so many things, obstacles I had to overcome by just doing that, right? The limiting beliefs, believing in myself, believing that I was capable, believing that I had the tools and resources. So that was like the pivotal moment of growth in my life. And that was just 4 years ago, man, where my corporate company laid me off and I had the decision to make. And once I jumped, man, I can't even begin to tell you, Justin, how much I've learned, how much I've grown, how much I've scaled within just the last 4 years. I mean, that's not a long time. I mean, for some people it may sound long, but I mean, I guess if you're in prison, that's a long time. But in life, that's not a long time. That's not really a long time, right? But man, I just really enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed it. And if there's anybody out there that's interested in becoming a coach, a speaker, or a trainer, hit your boy up, man, because I'm doing some amazing things. I have an amazing team and I'm connected with some amazing people, like Justin. If I'm on the show, who Justin brings on, he just doesn't bring anybody on. He gets, dozens of requests a day. So, we have a good network, man. So plug in with me, tap in, and let's see how we can work together and make a greater impact together, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. And, Jose, it's funny. I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years as well, full-time entrepreneur. And entrepreneur years are not regular people years. It's like a blink of an eye. and you're like, how the heck have I been doing this for 4 years? You know, every day is a marathon, but the years go by in a blink of an eye. And so I fully get what you're saying there, man. I've
Also,
loved this conversation. What's that?
I said it's almost like dog years, right?
Dude,
Every
it's,
1 year, 7 years, really.
yeah, dude, it's absolutely crazy, man. But dude, I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you and everything that you do in this world and the people that you inspire. It's just amazing, man. Just thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for being authentic. Thank you so much for taking everything that you've gone through and making it truly mean something, man. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And if I could just do one more thing, I wanted to, just as a gift to you and your audience, man.
Yeah.
I always like to give a free gift on every show that I'm on, because I'm a firm believer in the power of giving back, right? Giving forward, paying it forward. So since you guys showed up to listen to this or watch this interview, I want to give you a free MP3 download of my motivational talk on the power of showing up. I kind of share a little bit about the whole Les Brown thing. And there's no strings attached. Just go to freegift.joseinspires.com, freegift.joseinspires.com, download it, and be inspired, man. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome, man. Jose, thank you, dude. I can't wait to stay connected and see where this friendship goes. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it as well.